And thanks to LTC for letting us come in and do some of these career presentations. So the first one is, as she already had mentioned, success in the workplace and what employers are really looking for. And really, when it comes down to it, there are three things that they're looking for. However, these three items have a lot in each area, and we'll cover each one of these areas in a little more detail as we go through here. The first one being communication. The second, having a positive attitude, someone who said, yeah, let's go ahead and do it, and get things done, which takes us to the last one of actually setting goals and achieving results. I mean, that results is really where it all comes down to. That's what the employers want. So let's start talking about the first element, which is communication. And I love this phrase from Stephen Covey. In fact, this is one of his habits. Are you familiar with the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Have you ever had a chance to check this out or read this? This book is actually about 12 to 15 years in the makes. I mean, it's been out there, but yet still remains one of the top reading books for business professionals, and this is what really can help you enhance your career on both even a personal and business situation. So as far as suggestive readings, this is definitely one of them, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And this is one of the habits. Habit 5 is seek to understand before you're understood. And what does that really mean? It means to listen to others, listen to what others are asking and what their needs are before you jump in and give them what you feel is the answer. So really listening first is what it all comes down to. It's kind of like if you were to go into a doctor's office and the doctor would immediately say, before asking you any questions or finding out why you're there, they immediately say, oh, you need to take the purple pill. Well, how much trust would you have in that doctor? Zero. At least I would think they were a little off the wall. They didn't even check my weight or my blood pressure. They didn't ask what was wrong, where I was coming from. So if someone feels like you now understand me, and if I feel like this doctor understands what I'm going through, and now he comes back and prescribes something, I would have a lot more trust. And that's kind of what this is all about. It's really developing the trust in the workplace with your coworkers, with your boss, with your teammates, with your vendors, with all your customers, developing that trust. And it's all developing that through understanding them first and then for you to be understood. Now, also in regards to communication, we have several ways that we communicate. Either over the phone, face-to-face, written, email, or your just personal presentation. All of these very important within the workplace. First one being the phone, and then also going into face-to-face. What happens when you connect with someone face-to-face, or these first pieces will be over the phone as well, only 7% of the words we use is what's captured. Otherwise, they're, so what we say isn't as important as, let's say, this next part, is the way we say it. It jumps up to 36% on the way we say it. Are we enthusiastic about what we're presenting? Are we enthusiastic to what we're asking? Do you have a smile on your face? So on and so forth. It's the way we say it, our tone that comes across. So when you're on the phone, these two things are very important, because the next one, which is 57%, is what they see. Now here's where that smile comes in, if you're standing tall, if you seem confident. But notice, so often, people are so worried about what they're saying, but what it really comes down to is what that person is hearing in your tone and what they're seeing in your facial expression, and if you're standing tall, not someone that's slumped over and kind of mumbling. That's what they're hearing, rather than what your real message is all about. Now, eventually, that's the first couple of seconds. Eventually, then they get back into the number one, and that's what you're actually saying. And that's, of course, where that becomes important. In fact, I hear from more companies when they're in an interviewing process that they will ask the receptionist, hey, how did that person come in? How did they present themselves when they walked in the door? Because again, those first 30 seconds is so important of what that impression is like. And it's not just that, putting on a good face for the interviewer, it's how did you even present yourself to the receptionist. In fact, I've had companies tell me that they even watch someone walk in from the parking lot. And how is that person walking in? How is that person walking in? Are they walking in tall? Do they have a good pace to their footsteps? Or are they just walking in like this? That's part of that interview process. So much is what other people see is what comes across. Now, also with communication, of course, it's the written word. And what's the most important word in the English language? Well, it's there for you. It's you is the most important word. The least important word in other people's minds is I. So when you're writing something, very important to keep in mind, it's not, when you're sending out an email or you're sending out a letter, that you don't start everything off with the word I. I want this, I want this. It's what's important to that person you're writing it to, because it's, again, the most important word is you. And of course, consider your audience, and let's touch base on that real quick. Who is the reader? If it's a friend of yours, you're going to be sending a written communication or email a little different than if it's your boss or your coworker or your customer. It'll be a lot more professional. Say what you want in the first paragraph. People are busy. So if they don't catch it in that first paragraph or those first couple of sentences, they're not going to read on. I can tell you I get probably about 100 emails a day, so I better be able to scan through quickly. So if someone starts that first paragraph that has nothing to do with what they're really trying to get to me, I may miss it because I may think, oh, this is not something that's important to me or something that I need to address that's for someone else. So I may, immediately file that someplace else. Start with please and thank you. If you're following up on something, thank you for that information, or could you please help me out? Whatever, but that comes across, that goes a long way with starting that way, rather than just kind of jumping into what you need or want. Use bullets or numbers for long messages, suggest a response time, and just the facts, no emotions. And we're going to talk about that in the next slide here. When not to send an email, and this is just as important. Now that we've become such a technical age, and everybody's either texting or emailing, that you're losing some touch. And when it's a disciplinary action or it's information that's maybe on a negative tone or a corrective type email, much better to pick up the phone or go see that person in person. So much gets missed in an email, especially because of you can't portray the emotions, or you can't hear or read the other person's thoughts when they're reading it. That you can correct yourself or adjust the message you're trying to get across. And here are just some other things real quick with email. Again, pick up the phone or go walk over to see the person. Are you sending it to the right people? Actually read through your message to make sure that you don't have grammar errors or, of course, spelling errors, which are sometimes the spelling errors are picked up right away, but it's the grammar errors that may not be picked up. Is my message clear? Do I have the facts? And will the message offend anyone? Let's definitely keep that in mind. Again, if there's a problem with this last one, pick up the phone or go see that person. On the personal end, this is that third piece that we were talking about. Dress for success, dress for what you're trying to portray, where you're trying to go. Of course, a smile, that goes so far. I can't believe the big difference that makes on the phone, in person. People like dealing with people who are happy and are in a good place and feel confident. I think confidence definitely comes across with the smile as well. Accommodate, and of course, do unto others. These items here are often common sense, but not always common practice, and that's where we need to really watch that piece. Now, I want to talk about the next part that I said was very important for employers, and that's attitude. According to Harvard University, they're saying, success, happiness, accomplishment, and fulfillment, that 85% is in regards to attitude, 15% on your aptitude. The same thing goes with people hiring and firing. These are the same percentages. You're often hired because of 85% of your attitude, but also could be fired because of that same 85% of attitude. So you don't want that ever to be the case. I want to do a quick, before we do that exercise, let's talk about your knowledge, skills, and the attitude, and where do these all fit in? Knowledge is, of course, what you know. Your skills is how to do it, and then, of course, your attitude, your want to be able to do it. And I love this example, the example of someone smoking. First, or trying to quit smoking. We have the knowledge of that it's not good for you. It's not good to smoke. So we all have that knowledge. We all know that. It's on every package. The doctors tell us that. The skills. Everyone has the skills to smoke. How difficult it is to light up a cigarette. But it's the attitude that is the hardest one, to actually do it. So we know what we need to do. We know what the skills are, but it's the actual doing it. And you can relate that to a lot of things in your life, and in work and personal. A lot of times we know what we need to do, but it's doing the willpower to actually do it. And it reminds me of, I don't know if you guys know that Michael Jordan, famous basketball player, that he was actually cut from the high school basketball team. But he had the attitude to make it happen. So he worked on his knowledge and his skills every day by shooting over 100 shots every day until he got back on that team. And then, of course, the rest of the history of how well Michael Jordan did in basketball. But I think it's amazing. Because of that bottom piece, the attitude, got him to where he was. After being cut, how many times would someone actually move on to get to that next level? Quick exercise here in regards to attitude. We say attitude is everything, and we're going to do a quick exercise on what these actually mean. Now, if an A is the first letter of the alphabet, and that equals 1, you're going to put a 1 next to your A. If you could do that with me. The T, I'll give you the numbers. The T is actually the 20th letter in the alphabet. So we're going to put the number 20 in there. The next T will also be 20. The I is the 9th alphabet, so put number 9. T is 20 again. U is 21. D is 4. E is 5. We'll take a quick second to add those up. Did you get them at it? What did you come up with? 100. 100. That's attitude. Having the right attitude, you're going to get 100%, or put in 100%. So it's the attitude that will pull you through to make it work. 4 ways to build a good attitude. And this is, again, what employers are looking for, to have that good attitude. To be thankful. Be a giver. It's kind of that abundance mentality. You can give information to others, and guess what? You don't lose that information by giving. In fact, when you give love, or you give information, or give your knowledge, you actually grow. You don't lose anything, you actually grow. Be a forgiver, forgive those, and move on. And develop personal faith. That's really developing faith in yourself and having that confidence in yourself that you will succeed. And I love this quote about attitude, that optimism is the one quality more associated with success and happiness than any other. So having the optimism that you can definitely do it.